Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today we're going to be doing a review and demonstration on the DeVILBISS DV1-S. So it's the latest gun from DeVILBISS and it's hot off the press, pretty new. Lots of hype around this gun. So we're going to start by just doing a bit of an unboxing, have a look at what you get when you do get the kit, and yeah, we'll then take it into the booth and start doing some spraying with it. So it is available in a few different setups. So there's 3 different air caps to choose from. So you've got the M1, which is like the micro, and that comes with a 0.7 and a 0.9 mil needle. The other 2 air caps are the S1, which is the HVLP plus cap or the plus cap, and then the S2 is the HVLP cap. And that's what I've actually got here. The original kit I got here was the HVLP because that's all that Spray Guns Direct had in stock. So I think they must have copped quite a few pre-orders for this gun because, as I say, there was quite and still is quite a bit of hype around this gun. I've actually been having lots of people ask me about it. They've been keen to see my review, but I have actually been holding off on that review until I did end up getting the HVLP plus cap. Now, no matter which air cap you get, they all come with 2 fluid tips. So that's definitely a little bit of value being added to this kit here. And I will quickly mention that they are not cheap. They're around $600 to $700 Australian dollars at the moment. So they're like more expensive than a Pro Light, like a full-size Pro Light. So I'm just letting you know that at the start. They do ooze of quality. They're stylish as well. They actually do look really good. They're very well built. You can tell that as soon as you get your hands on one, but they're definitely not cheap. So as you can see there, that's the S2 air cap, and that is the HVLP on it. As you would imagine with a gun this size, it is quite nice and light, and it actually does feel very good in the hand. It's got a nice ergonomic feel in the hand, and yeah, it just sort of feels like it should, if that makes sense. Now, it's no secret to the channel regulars that I'm a big fan of the ANI R150s, so I know I'm going to be getting a lot of questions saying, hey, is it as good as the R150 or better if I don't mention it? And yeah, look, in one word, yes, it's definitely much better than the ANI R150s, but as I told you at the start, it's a lot more expensive as well. So yeah, we're going to go straight into the spray booth and just start splashing some clear around. So I ended up starting off with the 1 mil fluid tip on, but as I said, the S2 air cap, which is the HVLP air cap. Now, as it turned out, it wasn't putting quite enough material on for me to be happy to put the second coat on with that gun. So that's just the first coat. I ended up finishing that job there off with my full-size gun. So I just finished it off with my Pro Light. But yeah, look, I reckon I could have, in hindsight, I probably could have actually gone and put the 1.2 mil on. That would have sped the gun up a lot, and it also would have sort of got that thicker film build on, because as it turns out, like that first coat, while it was fine for a first coat, if I had gone and put the second coat on like that, there just wouldn't have been enough paint on the panels. So yeah, you need to get a certain amount of paint on your panels. Now, continuing on, we've got this little bit of a grill here. And as you can see, they're quite deep recesses in that grill that you got to get a nice wet even coat of paint on. So as you probably noticed that I've pinched that fan right up, so I've wound that fan in. So yeah, whilst this gun is definitely capable of doing exterior panels on cars and stuff like that, it's not really what it's designed for. It's more designed for this kind of a thing here, for doing wheels, for doing smart repairs, spot repairs, more small jobs, things like that. So, but on the other hand, if I was to go and use my full-size gun on a job like this, where you've got those deep vents and you've got to get a nice wet coat the entire way in, there's a good chance that you're going to be overloading it in certain areas, and then you end up with big runs, and that can get really messy really quick, especially on little things like this, and you can just make an absolute mess out of such a small job, what should be a small job. So that's why they say the right tool for the right job. So yeah, it's not to say that you can't spray these kind of things, or even wheels, or even spot repairs for that matter. Like, you can definitely spray those kind of jobs with your full-size gun, but it's going to be a lot easier to get the desired result, and yeah, nice even coat with that smaller spray fan, and yeah, it's just a little bit more concentrated into the smaller areas. So as you can see, all the way right into the back there, I've got a nice wet even coat, but I didn't get too much, so it's not running, it's not too orange peely. You sort of strike that right balance. So as I say, I reckon I could have done that with my full-size gun. But moving right along onto our next job here, we've got a 3-stage Pearl. It's actually a little Honda Civic rear bumper, and as you may notice there, we've also moved on to the S1 air cap. So that's the HVLP Plus air cap, and this is probably going to be the air cap that most people are going to be going for. As I said at the start, this is actually the one that was out of stock, but I did have a look at Spray Guns Direct website and they are back in stock. Yeah, so what I ended up doing here is I changed the fluid tip and the air cap over. So I ended up putting the 1.2 mil on here just to see how it went, and I did have a good play around with the different air caps and fluid tips. And look, I ended up deciding that this is my favorite air cap, but I actually reckon the 1.0 is probably the better fluid tip. So, and I mean, at the end of the day, that's gonna depend on what you want to spray. Now, as I did say at the start, you get both anyway. So you get the 1 and the 1.2 mil. So it's not like, you know, you need to worry about which one you're gonna buy. You get them both in the kit anyway. But I would say the 1 mil is gonna be the one that I'm gonna get most of the use out of, because I'm not really going to be spraying that much larger panels with it. So I'm gonna more be spraying like small spot repairs, like wheels, like that grill, what you saw before. When I get those kind of jobs, that's when I'm going to be getting the DV1-S out, and yeah, you getting use out of that. Not for bumper jobs like this. I'm not going to be clearing bumpers like this with this gun that much, to be honest. I mean, I'm doing it for the purpose of review and just for, you know, to see what the gun is capable of, and it's definitely more than capable of spraying things like this totally fine. But I just think full size gun, full bumper, yeah, it's really the right tool for the job, you know. But yeah, I have found with the 1.2, it's actually one hell of a cannon. Like it pumps a lot of material out. Like I got the 1.0 and the 1.2 side by side, and I couldn't see much of a difference in the tip size, but I tell you what, they do spray a hell of a lot different. This 1.2 absolutely hammers the material out there. So yeah, massive upgrade in speed and fluid output from the 1.0 to the 1.2. But that's kind of what I was saying before, is that that's why I'm not going to be using it, because I mean, I don't really want absolutely hammering it out. Isn't what you really want out of your minigun. I mean, some people may, you know, like when you're spraying down the side, like there may be some people out there that they don't want all these full-size guns, and they might just say, hey, I want a couple of small guns, because I mainly do spot repairs and smart repairs. That's sort of their main business, but they also can spray like full panels with that same gun. Yeah, that may be for you, but for me personally, most of the jobs that I actually do are big jobs. Where I've just started working now, we're doing a lot of like big smash jobs. So as I'm sure you noticed, it's got a monster fan on it. It's got a nice even fan, like an even fluid distribution throughout the fan, so it doesn't have any dead zones. I've done a lot of reviews over the years, and not all fans are as solid and full as the fan on the DV1-S. So would I recommend this? Yes, I would. As I mentioned at the start, they're not cheap, you know, and look, it might be out of your price bracket, and I do actually highly recommend going and checking out my, I think it was like a top 8 mini spray gun review. I'll put a little card up the top, and maybe even put a link down there in the description. You can go and watch one of my reviews where I got like, you know, 8 of the best mini spray guns, and I ranked them from worst to best. So go check that out if you like. And look, there's some much cheaper guns on the market than this. So, you know, if the price is an issue for you, don't feel as if you're missing out on getting a minigun because you can't afford this one. But I don't know, I've been thinking a bit about it lately, and I actually think that in a funny way, it actually is good value, because this is a gun that, like, there's no reason that one of these looked after properly won't last you 20 years and possibly even longer. you know. So you could go and get yourself one of those cheap knockoff ones for like $40 or $50 or whatever. Yeah, you'd be lucky to get a few months out of it because the seals are done, you know, like the thinners just eats away at it. So, you know, if you actually think about the amount of jobs and the quality of the jobs that you get out of it, this is probably actually not that bad value. And I just thought I'd show you this last little bit here. I actually didn't get the footage of it for whatever reason. The GoPro didn't turn on, but as you can see there, we were able to keep the color nice and tight and contained, and without getting the color all the way up to the edges of that roof. So I was actually pretty happy with the way this roof came up, and I just thought I'd give you guys a quick look at this spray gun that I did do a refurbish on. It was sitting out in the spray gun graveyard, and I brought it back to life, and yeah, I did this with it. So it's a old Rainbow DeVILBISS GTI, and I'll actually be doing a bit of a review and a video on this one soon. So if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe and keep an eye out for the review on this classic old GTI. But until then, I hope you guys have got something out of this video. There will be a link in the description if you are interested in buying one. I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favorite is those spray suits. So they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with the Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies, and t-shirts. So be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested.